mean, when I was blacklisted from Hollywood many years ago, I was the first one to support our president, and all my agents left, and a commercial agent left. We don't want to represent you. You're garbage to us. You're a Trump supporter. You're a falling actor. You're a B actor. All this negativity was coming to me when I supported the greatest president of our time. So for certain people, you could either fall into the cracks and then you have to apologize to Hollywood. I'm sorry, it wasn't me. I wasn't support. Or you can stand your ground, have integrity, and move forward. And regardless what they say, you make your own future. Because their ego, fame is an important thing to most. To be famous, they'll do whatever it takes. Back in the day, Pete Diddy and Jennifer Lopez. I remember back in the day, I was in Miami and I was working on Calvin Klein campaigns and doing movies or whatever. I remember that one time they were sitting by the pool and Jennifer was reading a script with Pete Diddy and they asked me to come down and hang out with them. I knew that I would hang out with these people. I knew there's something is up. These people are dirty, they're dark, they have secret lives and all that stuff. I've always tried to keep myself private. I always try to keep myself away from that life of darkness, of things that they do, or secret parties, all the stuff that people are talking about now. I never want. So I did the right thing. So I believe that the core of who I am was always the righteous one. So I'm going to stick to that. And if they don't want me to be part of that or whatever, or they try to restrict me, so be it. I'll create my own future. I'll create my own environment. And if I have to, which I'm doing, I'll create my own Hollywood. And we'll keep fighting for what is right. Why don't you elect better people instead of Gavin Newsom, who's destroyed the state? Those are reality. It's not because I'm neither a Republican or a Democrat. I'm a independent. I make my own mind. If the Democrats came back to a place of reasonable behavior, of common sense, I would vote for Democrats, but they're crazy. They're voting for DEI. They're waiting for woke agendas. They're voting for more drugs in our country, more taxes, and tax the rich, and all this nonsense that has not been working. And now we're finding out the truth.
I'm honored today to have on Antonio Sabato Jr. For the second time, and he's a little bit of my window into Hollywood. Tell us, Antonio, what's been going on with you, with the world, with making America healthy, great, better again, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, pal. I appreciate it. I am just finishing up my workout. That's why I'm like this, but I train every day and it's Valentine's Day and I have a busy day. So I wanted to make sure that we got everything under control and get to do your show as well. So thank you for having me, and excuse my attire, but I got to train every day. So I'm feeling good. Good time to be an American. Good time to really love our country now, and it's time to move forward. And hey, it's a beautiful Valentine's Day in America. I live in Florida. I'm very blessed to have everything I have, man. I love this country, man. It's the number one for me.
It's an amazing time. I was up at the inauguration weekend and was fortunate enough to get tickets to the Liberty Ball.
Nice.
So it's, we met great people. Washington kind of had a totally different feel to it. There was, dare I say, a freedom to it. And, people were very convivial, happy. And, people waited in line outdoors in the free. It was a totally freezing weekend, 12 weather, cold winds, and people were civil and happy. There was, kind of like like a more formal, polite society. It's just an amazing thing. I don't know how that plays out in your realm, in your world. I know you're trying to forge kind of new production, do your own movies and whatnot. I'm curious how that's playing out, how it is the interaction kind of societally in the creative arts. People tend to skew a little bit more left. Has that become an issue for you at all?
I guess in a way. I mean, when I was blacklisted from Hollywood many years ago, I was the first one to support our president, and all my agents left, and a commercial agent left. We don't want to represent you. You're garbage to us. You're a Trump supporter. You're a falling actor. You're a B actor. All this negativity was coming to me when I supported the greatest president of our time. So for certain people, you could either fall into the cracks and then you have to apologize to Hollywood. I'm sorry, it wasn't me. I wasn't support. Or you can stand your ground, have integrity, and move forward. And regardless what they say, you make your own future. So I make my own movies. I make my own future. I do what I want. I do my racing. If I want to do a celebrity boxing match, I do it at 52. And I'm willing to fight any of these celebrity guys anytime. I'm in real estate, building one of the biggest, most amazing projects in downtown Tampa called Aura Hotel and Residences. That's a beautiful, hotel that you can purchase and you can be part of Tampa for the rest of your life. Plus, this is an income generator, so a lot of people are flocking to Tampa because it's a beautiful, upcoming town that is just clean and respected, and just the beaches and everything. Everything is great. I've been living in Tampa for 10 years, so I guess Hollywood tried to blacklist me, and they pushed me to have an even better life. So thank you again for doing that, and I'm still standing. I will continue to make movies. I will continue to be in the limelight. I will continue to have my life, regardless what these people on the far left are saying or they want me to do or not do. I live on common sense. I live with God in my life, and I live on truth. So I sleep good at night that I never signed with the devil. I never signed on the darkness, and I never gave my soul to them to live a certain life to make them happy, or to believe something that I don't believe, like these actors, or date every single person that is in the room when you're winning an award, and everybody's there, slept with your wife, your husband, this, and everybody has this life that it's just not entertaining to me. I want to make movies. My father made movies before me. This is what I enjoy doing. This is the life that I chose. And I would hate for Hollywood to decide what kind of life I should have, or you're not going to hire me because I didn't vote for Kamala or I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton is ridiculous. So for you to believe that, I don't want to be associated with you, and to believe that a lot of these celebrities who make millions of dollars, who are worth so much, talk that way. That you're basing everything on this. If you're a Trump supporter, I'm not going to make a movie with you. If you're not trusted, this is ridiculous. So, and also they look like really ignorant folks, and that's depressing to me because you make so much money, you're so famous, but you're so ignorant. So what's happened in the last 10 years, I would say, or about 10 years, is that a lot of these celebrities open their mouth and then you stop watching their movies. Like there's certain people like Robert De Niro. I met him. He's one of my idols growing up, but this guy went too far left and talking nonsense. And so how can you support people that spill negativity? Listen, I love this country. I love my nation. That's all I want. I want the best for it, and that's my opinion. I want to make movies. I want to portray characters that I always wanted to. I want to keep making films like a Western that I want to make, all this stuff. And I don't want these people to stop me and to put a roadblock and go, oh, Antonio's a Trump supporter, so he's never going to make a TV show for Allmark or this or that, or make a movie with, Marvel or this or that. Okay, you say that, but I'm not going anywhere, and I'm going to keep my hardest work ethics, and for the rest of my life, whether it's physically, spiritually, emotionally, in any way, and I'm going to overcome that, and I'm going to stick. I'm going to stick to it. So I'm never leaving. So I'm always going to be around.
Yeah, no,
Hold on a second. I have something to. Honey, go to the door, please. Yeah, for you.
that's all right.
Yeah,
We'll chop
it's
that.
okay. No, it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
It is Valentine's Day, so I just want to see. Come here. Let me show everybody what you got. Who are you talking to? I'm doing a beautiful podcast with my friend over here. No, you won't be on camera, but I want to
Oh
show.
my goodness, that is so beautiful.
What do you think?
That's amazing. That's
She
amazing.
deserves so much more, but that's
Yeah.
the beginning.
I know my wife said, "Oh, I don't get me anything for Valentine's
I
Day."
love
So
you, baby.
you know what that means.
Okay, this is
Um,
gonna go up here.
And those flowers are good for cats. I make sure that they smell good, but there's nothing poisonous or anything like that. Be careful. You get flowers, you have kitties around. No, I checked with her. She knows they're good with kitties. So
yeah,
anyway, go
that's
ahead, my friend. Sorry.
amazing. What a fortunate coincidence.
Yeah,
My wife and I are going out later for Valentine's Day.
good
You
for
know, I
you guys.
made an appointment with a friend a couple weeks ago. We were going to go out for this Friday night. I said, do you care if we go out Friday night? And anyway, so everything was set, and then I realized, oh my God, it's Valentine's Day. I can't do that. So I canceled with a friend. And my wife said, "Oh, it doesn't really matter Valentine's Day. You can go with your friend." Da, da. I said, "Well, you're too good." So that's why we're going to do. That's why we're going to do
We're
Valentine's.
blessed. We're blessed, my friend. We're
Yeah, no,
blessed beyond anything to have a partner that you can love endlessly and have a beautiful relationship. That's what I tell people is if you're not in love, truly in love with people you're around, that's just be by yourself because you got to be fully committed, and it's so much better to be fully committed to somebody, friends or whatever, or significant other, to be fully committed. It's to me personally the way I choose to live my life is to be fully committed.
I officiated a wedding last summer,
Oh,
and
good.
um, it was the very first time I was asked. I was honored, and we talked. The couple and I talked about what it all meant, and they were obviously thinking about marriage. They're going out for a little bit of time, and I've told this to many of my younger cohort and friends and whatnot that we dated for a while, my wife and I, and so we were girlfriend and so forth. And when we got married, frankly, things got so much better because you eliminate
Yeah.
concept that you can both kind of step out. When it's a little bit like renting versus owning, like you
That's true.
and whatnot. When you own a piece of something, you have a better commitment to it, and you want to keep it up.
Yeah.
Just as a
That gave me goosebumps. That's exactly right. When you own something, you have a necessity to take care of that because it's part of who you are, versus leasing it or renting and knowing that it's not going to go. That's what I'm talking about. Full commitment to something, whether it's your career or whatever you do, is a lot better because you have so much investment into it, and rather than just leasing it or renting it month to month. So owning something, owning part of your life that makes you a better human being is the way to go.
Yeah, I listened to this one of these little Instagram kind of reels yesterday, day before. There was a priest. I'm not Catholic. I'm Jewish, but he was talking. He said, "Look, I'm going to give you the best marriage advice, and yes, I'm celibate, and say what you will, but the perfect marriage is two imperfect people who are working together, and that's the perfect marriage because we all are imperfect. We all have our oddities and rough edges and all that kind of stuff, and quirks and so forth. And but when you commit to do something, you're going to put better effort into it. I ran my own medical practice for about 30 years, 27 years, and I spoke with a lot of physicians, and they're all miserable. They're all working for somebody else, and they're taking orders, and they have to. And we saw it under COVID. I think people compromised their wishes and desires and whatnot. They kind of were subservient to something that was not true. And I never really had any of that grief. I've been working for myself for better or for worse, so I've kind of had my own boss, my own employee. But if you have to kind of manage your own life that way, we can't all work for ourselves. But I think you have that kind of same element that you are willing to do the right thing and take ownership of your performances and your ethics and guidance and so forth. And I think
You have one life, my friend. You have the one life that it was given, and it's such a blessing to have that life. So you got to live under your principles, under God's principles, under what makes you who you are, and not what others want you to be like. So I've raised my kids to be like that, to be independent in their own views, in their own ways, rather what others say. And what happens in the industry of Hollywood, because it's so important, it has so much power. They dictate your life. They dictate the way you're supposed to be or dress or the things you have to say instead of being your true self. You don't have to agree. But the thing is with celebrities that you see them as one way, and then when you see it another way, two different people. And I tend to be the same person all the way around. I cannot switch and go to a party and be this great, I agree with everything you're saying, blah blah blah, with a smile, and then go home and go, oh man, I hated that person. That belief is not me. But I can't be fake to who I am. And these people in Hollywood have that in them, that they can switch it because it's a game. I need to get this role. I need to be like this. I can't say this. Otherwise, I got to stay away from that. Is that really a free country, a free way of being? No. So I'm very much against that. I fight against that because it's a sign of bullying from Hollywood saying if you don't do what we tell you to do and how to do it, when you go to a casting office, don't wear your cross. Don't wear this. Don't wear that. Don't be religious. Don't do this. Don't talk about God. Don't talk about politics. Don't talk about anything at all. I agree with everything they're saying. It's the most ridiculous thing, and I'm going to fight against that. If I have to fight for the rest of my life to have a free Hollywood environment where we're talking about making movies. And if you decide to talk about something else, we'll disagree or whatever. But you're not going to just put me on a cutting block and go, hey, you're a Trump supporter. You're done. Is that the most ridiculous thing? Because I don't live that way. I do whatever I want. It's a free country. And it shows in real time who these people are. And why would you want to work with anybody that wants to destroy your life or just treating you like, oh, you're not part of us unless you do exactly what we. It's a sign of ownership. It's dictatorship. It's like Castro. It's like all these evilness in the world that we've seen. I don't want that around my life. That's why I
You
live
know,
in Florida.
it's
I live in a free state.
absolutely, it's important to sleep well and to do well and
Yeah,
whatnot. This
absolutely.
of freedom is not just that you can do anything you want. Michael Knowles, who writes and speaks at the Daily Wire, talks about the difference between liberty and libertine. Libertine is when people kind of like P. Diddy themselves. They're out on the edge of doing whatever they can do, and anything that feels good, and that is generally not liberty. So being libertine, has this frisson, kind of this feeling that people have. They feel excited and whatnot, but they're feeling that because they know they're not doing
Yeah,
right.
because their ego, fame is an important thing to most to be famous. They'll do whatever it takes. Back in the day, Pete Diddy and Jennifer Lopez. I remember back in the day, I was in Miami and I was working on Calvin Klein campaigns and doing movies or whatever. I remember that one time they were sitting by the pool and Jennifer was reading a script with Pete Diddy and they asked me to come down and hang out with them. I knew that I would hang out with these people. I knew there's something is up. These people are dirty, they're dark, they have secret lives and all this stuff. I've always tried to keep myself private. I always try to keep myself away from that life of darkness of things that they do or secret parties, all the stuff that people are talking about now. I never want, so I did the right thing. So I believe that the core of who I am was always the righteous one. So I'm going to stick to that. And if they don't want me to be part of that or whatever, or they try to restrict me, so be it. I'll create my own future. I'll create my own environment. And if I have to, which I'm doing, I'll create my own Hollywood. And we'll keep fighting for what is right.
Yeah, I'd
So
like to talk a little bit about that. So, creating your own Hollywood. I mean, I saw that Angel Studios movie about the child trafficking. As a Road to Freedom, maybe.
yep.
And I loved it. I didn't get the distribution. People, there's it's always amazing to me that Hollywood is willing to cut off its left hand to spite the right, or cut off the right hand, I guess, to spite the left. That they are willing to ignore half the audience. I mean, we saw it's kind of the same kind of thing. The Super Bowl halftime, whatnot. It's like it's a way of thumbing your nose at half your audience, and it's like they're willing to leave dollars on the table by not catering and producing films that a general audience would like. They don't produce genuine kind of young teen movies. They don't
They
produce.
have too much power, my friend. They have too much power, ownership of distribution, ownership of everything. They have first choice at all the celebrities. They have all the connections with the biggest agencies in the world. I mean, look, Joe Biden signed up with CIA, the biggest theatrical agency in the world, who represents, I think, Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt and all these people. Why is Joe Biden being represented by CIA? So it goes to show you, if I was a Democrat, if I was a Trump, if I wasn't a Trump supporter and I supported Kamala or any of these delusional beings, I would probably be in the Marvel movie right now, and in my career, I'll probably be signed up for a TV show. I'd be living in that world in LA, living in lies and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll probably be a multi-millionaire right now, having to hang out with all these big shots. But then going home, these people lied to me. These people don't care about me. I have to play the game and all this stuff. It wouldn't suit well with me. It would rub me the wrong way. And at some point, I'm going to explode. So might as well stick to who I am. And going back to Hollywood, you want to create your own Hollywood. You got to keep making movies like Grace by Night, the movie that I'm making, and keep pushing this film so you can make more of them. And so we have our own lane to make these films. And hopefully, we'll have one that will hit big and give us an opportunity. Like Grace by Night is blowing up. Slowly but surely, we'll go higher and higher and make better movies. But Christians in this country, they talk a big game. They say they want to make good films for God. Okay, well, you're not making good films for God because you're making the same low budget films and nobody sees for just the Christian world. God reaches everybody. We need to go across the board. We need to have a production company in Los Angeles. We need to compete with Disney. We need to make movies that are just as good and produce to compete. Otherwise, it's just going to be these B movies that go nowhere. And I think God deserves better. That's why I'm working extremely hard and devoted to make great entertainment done in they don't look like small budgets. That's why we're working so hard with my crews and my production companies and people that I'm associated with in Detroit or Texas who are willing to make movies and work really hard with no money. But at the end of the day, our movies come out looking like multi-million dollar feature films. And that's what God deserves. And even if we have to work for free, even if we have to work 24 hours a day, whatever, we'll do it because we need good products like Grace by Night, like my next film, 426. And those are the type of films we want to keep making. Not these low budget films that go to the Christian this and that and nobody sees, just the Christian community. God goes everywhere. I want our films to be seen by Jews, by Muslims, by this, by non-believers, by this or that. Our
The,
movies are for everybody.
the themes are universal. And are you familiar with Andrew Clavin? He's kind of my lodestar. He writes and speaks at Daily Wire also. But he had a very similar experience. He was a big time writer. He's one of the great novelists. I hadn't really come across his work till maybe a decade ago, and I've read dozens of his work. It's like a great thriller writer, mystery writer, and he touches human feelings. Anyway, he's a fabulous writer, and he's really hilarious as well because he has like a weekly podcast, video cast now. Anyway, he was working in Hollywood, and he had his movies, his books produced in Hollywood. And at a certain point, I think it was after 9/11, he had a piece that was patriotic, and he had gone to Afghanistan to visit the troops and whatnot. And he came out that he was supporting our troops. And the Hollywood producers were like, "Oh, you got to like back off from that." He's like,
Yeah.
"I'm not backing off from that." And they sussed out that he was not buying into every liberal thing. And he was born Jewish. His dad, actually, I listened to his dad on the radio, Gene Clavin, back 1,000 years ago in the 60s and 70s. And so he had a kind of a nice upbringing in Great Neck, Long Island. And he made a conversion, which I think is very much worth reading. I don't follow every bit of his philosophy there, but so he's very much true to his beliefs, and he's got the same concept that he's not working for you. He's working kind of on a greater sense. Not when I say for you, for the producers in Hollywood, he's working on his own stuff, and he's got a series right now. Maybe you two guys could get together. He's got a Cameron Winter series. That's his new kind of like detective hero kind of guy. Really fascinating stuff. And it's a really matter of not compromising. So, he lost a fortune. He lost millions of dollars by not having his screenplays adapted and adopted anymore.
Right.
But he turned away from it. He said, "Look, I'm hunting for a bigger game right now. It's not, Hollywood's fine, but you guys, anyway." He's pointed out one of he had this great series called Another Kingdom. There's two books, I believe, 3 books maybe. And really talked about the kind of underlying, kind of the wound beneath the scab of Hollywood, kind of the perversity, the pedophilia, all that kind of stuff, the kind of George Soros aura under Hollywood. And that's kind of the essence of this book. He goes back and forth the time. It's really amazing stuff.
Yeah.
But the greater point is, for whom are you working and for what purpose? And if you want to just work to, be in the right parties and hang out with the right people and go naked, literally or figuratively, with your soul, not just bearing your soul, your body, all that kind of stuff. Well, fine, go do that. But then you have to be that other person. You've just become a cog in somebody else's wheel.
Right. Because if you have a connection with the spiritual world, you know that this life is short, but the eternal life in heaven is much longer. So you have to live with the consequences of your choices you make in life. And nobody's perfect. I certainly am very far from being perfect, but when you get to a point of going, this is the righteous things and this are not, and this is the truth, and there's only one truth. There's only one truth. There's no others. And I tend to believe to the truth, the only truth. So help me God. So that's the kind of life I live, and I'm very proud of it. And also I have a very small circle, so the smaller the better. I have warriors that's, my family, my friends, people that stood by. My fans, my fan base has stood by me from day one, that always believed in me and still does. So one day at a time, and the best is yet to come. I'm very excited about this year because I'm going to be doing a lot of things, and the more successful I am, the more these people on the far left, or whatever you want to call it, get angry. So I'm good with that. Let's go.
Well, I appreciate that. So, kind of we're rounding out our half hour right now. What are the words you'd have for somebody coming into the industry? And then I guess a second question would be: I saw on your X feed something about Tom Hanks and USAID. Maybe you could talk about both those things, like the kind of the price of success.
Well, I'll
Whether
give you an example. I mean, Hollywood talks about so much about, making so much money and raising money and giving to charities. They talk a big game, where Thanksgiving comes up, all these celebrities are giving turkeys to the homeless people in Los Angeles and getting the photo hop and this and that. They don't do anything for the rest of the year. I mean, Los Angeles is full of homelessness, overtaxed, dirty streets, and everything like that. Now, fires and everything. Now, the neighborhoods and Palisades and Altadena completely burned down to the ground. Where are the celebrities? Where are they raising the money? What happened to Hawaii, to all those homes in Hawaii? They talk a big game. If I'm going to go on camera and talk about raising money, I'm going to raise my money. I'm going to get my own money, and I'm going to make sure that those streets are clean. And Disney alone, as a production company, as a studio, could clean up Los Angeles in like a week. Literally, they can clean up everything with the billions of dollars that they have. That's just one company. So all these celebrities that talk a big game, going, we want more sanctuary cities. We believe in DEI and all this other stuff. Where are they? Because they have many homes. Why don't you take all these illegal aliens who are crossing our border? Why don't you take them? And why don't you take the fentanyl in your house? Why don't you take the homeless people that are walking and parking their tents in front of your house in Beverly Hills or around the corner or under a freeway? When you get off of LAX, you see homeless everywhere, and nobody's doing anything about it. And they're talking, raising money. I'm raising money for cancer. I'm raising money for this. You're not doing absolutely nothing. You know how you raise awareness? By saying, forget about this. Let's really get down to the business of electing the right people, making sure that they put policies on the road, on the streets for our neighborhoods to help the American people to get back to common sense. So when they talk a big game, in reality, they're talking a lot of ignorance. And that's why I don't live in California, because it's just too hard to deal with people that make sense out of nothing. You want to clean the streets? Don't allow for people to tent everywhere, to live on the streets. Why don't you put more money into rehabilitation centers, which we don't have in California? Why don't you elect better people instead of Gavin Newsom, who's destroyed the state? Those are reality. It's not because I'm neither a Republican or a Democrat. I'm a independent. I make my own mind. If the Democrats came back to a place of reasonable behavior, of common sense, I would vote for Democrats, but they're crazy. They're voting for DEI. They're waiting for woke agendas. They're voting for more drugs in our country, more taxes, and tax the rich, and all this nonsense. It has not been working, and now we're finding out the truth. So I want to be on the right side of history. I love this country. I love the American people, and I think the best is yet to come. And I'm very excited about my projects, what we're doing, and we're stronger than ever. I believe that God puts you through a lot of tests in life, and if you overcome them and you come in with a really good attitude, the best is yet to come. So I'm very blessed. And thank you for having me on your show.
appreciate that, Antonio. I wish you the best of luck. And people, where can they
Thanks,
find
man.
you? How can they
Instagram, X, but usually Instagram. You can send me messages there. That's where I post all my stuff from real estate and movies, and everything else is pretty much on Instagram. And yeah, but thank you for having me on your show, and God bless, and happy Valentine's Day to you and your wife.
I appreciate that. Vice versa, that was really generous of you. And I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thanks, my man. We'll see you soon.